Hi, my name's Kate. I am a high school math teacher in the middle of my 19th year of teaching. Today, I thought that I would take you guys along for a day in my life. Today is Tuesday, November 25th. It is my last day of school this week, just before our Thanksgiving holiday. So I know a lot of schools in the US have this entire week off. I'm just thankful that we went to school Monday, Tuesday, because when I first started teaching, guys, we used to teach through Wednesday. Talk about awful. So anyway, so I have two pre-calc classes today, and they are taking their chapter 4 test. It is all over logs and exponential functions. So they're going to do that. And then my quantitative reasoning class is doing a quiz over, we've been talking about, we're in our financial unit right now. So we've been looking at the compound and simple interest, and then we've been talking about credit cards. So their quiz is over just some of those basic things. And then we have a credit card project that we are going to do. The project is something completely new. I just made it, so we're gonna kind of see how it works. I'm hoping that it works sort of how I envision, but so here's my title. Oops, I charged it again. Being adulting is hard. So the kids have the choice of 3 different credit cards, so they're going to read through those and they're going to pick which credit card that they want, and then on their reflection sheet they're going to answer that, which one did they pick and why did they pick that. And then what happens is each month they have this table. So each month they're going to, write what their carryover balance is, their finance charge, their net charges, or their new charges. And how we get new charges is the kids are gonna draw one purchase and one life event card for each month. So they're gonna draw one of each of these, and that's gonna just tell them, gas, you spent $28. There's online shopping, you spend $76. So just a bunch of random purchases. And then these life events are all sorts of different, like a good or bad. So medical bill, add $75, foreign transaction fee, add $8, a coupon win, you get to subtract $10 from your purchase. So just a bunch of different random, unexpected charges that you may see, or unexpected, things that happen in your life that you're not ready for. So those are all gonna go in the new charges. They'll figure out their new balance, and then a minimum payment. So to figure out their minimum payment, that's part of their credit cards. And then their actual payment, then they're gonna draw a payment card, and the payment card is, you're gonna pay your minimum plus $10. You're gonna pay your minimum plus $40. So just a bunch of different things. I think there's a 1 or 2 in here about a missed payment. And so they're just gonna do that through the end of 4 months. And then they also have on the back a sheet where they can figure out how much they earn in rewards for each of the months, and then their total rewards. And so that's the plan. I'm gonna work through this when they're done with that quiz. So hopefully this goes well. It sounds kind of like a fun, making things a little bit different, showing them the credit cards and the fact that, real life things happen, things that come up that you're not expecting with these life events, and just showing them how, credit cards can be a good thing, they can be a bad thing, and it really just depends on how you manage those. So that's what we're gonna do with our quantitative reasoning class today. And then I do have my plan period, and so I'm hoping to really get a bunch of stuff done for next week so that I can go into this long break without having to bring anything home. Anyway, it is 7:45. Our secretary of the math and science office is doing a little Thanksgiving breakfast. So I'm gonna head down there, enjoy a little breakfast before I come back and have office hours with my students. At the start of each class, I have these start of class slides up on the board for students that tells them what they need to do as soon as they come in or as soon as class starts. Upcoming is where I will list their upcoming tests or quizzes. And then over here, what we're doing today. And then I always have a meme of the day. So here is the meme for today. I feel it's so appropriate. So still working on getting those kids to do those do-nows. If you've been following along, they're still struggling gathering those supplies, but we're getting a little bit closer. Okay, so just a couple of reminders with your test. Please make sure, put that away, we are done. Thank you. Please make sure you guys read the directions carefully. Make sure you show all work. Keep your work neat. Keep your work organized so that I can follow it, right? If I can't read it, if I can't follow it, I cannot give you credit for those problems because I don't know what you're doing. When you are done, your test is going to go up in the folder up on the front table, and then you guys need to work on first missing assignments for this class. Remember, missing assignments doesn't just mean that they're marked missing. It could simply be that there's a 0 in the grade book, right? Those zeros are because you turned it in maybe and you didn't have your name on it. You turned it in and you didn't have work. You turned it in and it was the wrong assignment. You turned it in and your picture was so blurry I couldn't read it, right? Lots of reasons why you would have gotten a 0 on an assignment you turned in. So don't just look for those missings, right? The missing means that it's actually missing, you didn't turn it in. A 0 without the missing mark means you turned it in, but you still have that 0. So go back and look at the comments in Canvas for those things, right? To find those comments in Canvas, go back to our calendar, click on those assignments and look at them through there so that you can see those comments. So again, that is 1310.40. Number 5, your balance is $3,481.31, 3481.31. Number 6, you are going to have $6,426.35, 6426.35. It is finally lunchtime, so I taught both my pre-calc classes, so with the test with those, so really not a whole lot. I was productive in getting some things planned for my college algebra class and getting some of those notes edited while the students were working. And I'm 30 minutes into quantitative reasoning, so before lunch, that's what we're at lunch right now, so before lunch they did their quiz, and the students, I mean, it was not a long quiz. There were 7 questions. One of them was a little bit longer, kind of having to fill out their monthly credit card statement for a couple of months, but the rest of it should have been really easy. They were just using the interest, the compound interest, and the simple interest formula just to plug those in. And some kids, I gave them an extra 5 minutes after the bell rang, and one kid was just mad because I wouldn't allow him to go to lunch, come back and finish it because he said that I did not give enough time. And I was like, it took me less than 10 minutes to do this, so typically that means that it'll take my students about 30. But I had so many kids asking me questions. They're like, what does continuous mean? And I was like, we did 2 lessons on compound continuously, and you had a homework on that. And so I just know that part of it is that they're not studying, they're not working, they're just kind of done, especially the day before break. So, you know, it is what it is. So anyway, I'm going to enjoy lunch. So I do have, if you guys have not seen one of these day in my lives, this amazing crock pot. Plug it in about 30 minutes before I'm ready to eat. There is a little container inside and it just warms up leftovers. So this is a great way. That way I don't have to walk all the way over to the math science office. I also had from breakfast some pumpkin pie that I did not eat this morning. So I'll probably eat a little bit of my pumpkin pie and relax before the second half of quantitative reasoning. So I'm gonna stop talking, I'm gonna eat, I'll chat with you guys later. I walked you guys through really the entire project, but I wanna just make sure that we understand all of this. So the first thing that you guys should have already done, and if you haven't, you're going to need to, before you go any further, you guys need to pick one of these credit cards, and that's what you're answering on number 1, right? That's real life. Real life, you pick a credit card before you start charging and things start happening, right? So you've got to make that decision ahead of time. So that's what you're going to do. And then you guys are going to get, which I haven't given you yet, you guys are going to get this table, okay? The front side here is going to look very familiar, right, where we fill in all of our information. There is going to be one change on this. So we have our carryover balance, finance charge, our new charges, our new balance, our minimum payment, and then the actual payment, right? We're not used to seeing that part. Okay, we're just used to saying, hey, we're just going to pay the minimum payment. So we'll get to that actual payment in a second, but you'll fill in that all the way through to the end of that month 4. Thankfully, my day is over. Now I'm on my plan period right now. My third block today, quantitative reasoning, was rough after lunch today. So they worked on the project, talked a little bit more about it, explained just a few other things, put out all the cards and had them work, and just reminded them, hey, if this is a new credit card, what's your first balance gonna be? 0, which means what's your finance charge gonna be, right? We talked about some of those weird things. We talked just a little bit about, okay, if your balance is, you know, at the end of the month, $100, and then the payment card says that you're going to have to pay $200, and if you don't owe $200, are you gonna pay $200? No, you're just gonna pay off your balance. And so, figured I addressed all of those things, and it was just constant hand after hand after hand. Guys, I only had today 9 kids in class, 9, okay? Constantly running around between these 9 kids because they just were not, no, not all of them. Some of them were amazing, but others, they just didn't want to think. How do I find the finance chart? I'm like, guys, we just did that. That was in fact on your quiz that you just did. Read the information. They couldn't figure that out. And I don't know how to find the minimum payment. Again, we just did those on the quiz. So it was really a really frustrating thing. Now I know this was the first time that I've done this project and I need to make some tweaks on my end. 100%, I admit that. But the questions that they were asking, some of them were fantastic questions and they didn't quite understand some things, but other things were just, guys, this is exactly what we just learned, what we just tested, what we've been talking about for 3 days. And so it was just really frustrating. And I know part of that is it's the day before break, they're done, they don't want to be here, but they're also showing it that they're done, they don't want to be here, and they didn't necessarily put forth the effort. I did also have one kid that slept the first 30 minutes after lunch, and then when he woke up he was mad at me because I wasn't going to explain the project to him, and I was like, I already did that, you decided to sleep. So it's been a frustrating day. So I am glad that I am done with students for the day. I am going to work on, I've got a stack of stuff that I'm going to bring to our math office so I can get hopefully some copies done and just kind of get the room all ready and set up ready for Monday so that I don't have to worry about any of this stuff over the long weekend. So that is my plan. I'm going to go ahead and be as productive as I can. Making copies, so I've got all of these copies, which include classwork, homework, warm-ups for pre-calc and college algebra for, I believe, the next week, 2 weeks, week and a half, something like that. So I just kind of made a bunch that I knew I was definitely going to use. So it's now time to go organize these. This is where I organize all of my copies. So the top set of drawers is pre-calc, the middle set is quantitative reasoning, and the bottom set is college algebra. So I'm going to get those organized and keep being productive on my plan period. One thing that I have found has been really helpful adding to kind of my workflow has been this weekly to-do pad from Callie Danielle. So I'll be sure to leave a link for this, but this is, first of all, it is a huge pad, but it's just where I list all of the to-dos that I have for the day. Now, I do have a calendar or a planner as well. And I love my planner. So I've got this really big, it's actually an old version of one of the For the Love of Pi and TI calculator collabs. It's, I want to say from 2023, 24, something like that. But yeah, 2023, 24. I'm just redating. I didn't even change the date on there. But there is a place for the to-dos. But I find that there's not quite enough space here for all the to-dos that I need. And because of the way that my desks are situated, I'm finding myself working more at the desk that has the 2 computer monitors rather than the side desk. And that's where this lives because there's not enough space on this desk for that. So I find that this is able to tuck just between the 2 monitors on the desk. So it's out of the way of the workspace, but I can still see it because it's still on the space that I'm currently working. So I'm finding that this has been really helpful. And the days that I have another teacher in my room during my plan period, I just toss this in my bag. This is easier to toss in my bag than this big heavy planner. So I'm finding that this is working really well this year, and it comes with enough pages for the entire year. So this is definitely a new addition this year that I love. So if you guys are needing some place to jot down your to-dos, I would strongly recommend something like this. It's been fantastic this year. And I just spend a little bit of time on Friday looking at whatever I didn't accomplish in the week, carrying that over. Sometimes I'll use, because I don't really need, to-dos for the weekend, I will throughout the week jot down things. Oh, don't forget to do this week. But because, with it being such a short week and, only have 2 days, I didn't do that. But in previous weeks, a lot of times Thursdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, I'll think, okay, I want to make sure I do this next week, so I'll add those here. But I did already go ahead and predate next week, and I started adding a couple of things. And I'm going to be out on Monday in the morning, so I just made a note of that. So I'll make just random little notes of things as well, similar to what I would put in my planner. But again, the more places that I have it, the better at this point in my life. Well, that's it. My day is over. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know there wasn't a whole lot of teaching, but you know, that's life, especially the day before a break, trying to get in those last minute tests and quizzes. So that's just how it goes. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Giving it a thumbs up tells YouTube that you guys liked this, and it helps other math teachers and other just teachers in general find videos like this. So that would be amazing if you guys would give it a thumbs up. If you are interested in following along more with my journey, please subscribe. I do upload videos every Friday, but you can hit that notification bell to be notified the next time a video goes live. And make sure you guys do, because I have something special coming up next week. And maybe you've seen it in my community tab, but if you haven't, stay tuned and I will chat with you guys later. I hope you have a mathy day. Bye.